Let's be honest. Have you ever caught yourself mindlessly scrolling, liking, and swiping through people's lives and wondered, why is this even popular? Or maybe you felt like your deeper thoughts, your more meaningful work, just don't get the recognition they deserve. Meanwhile, someone dancing in their kitchen to a 6-second sound is going viral. Well, you're not crazy for noticing. Modern culture is built to reward the shallow. Not because people are shallow by nature, but because the system we're living in thrives on short attention, surface-level stimulation, and endless distraction. But here's the truth most people won't tell you. There's a reason behind this pattern, and if we look deeper, through the lens of ancient philosophy, modern psychology, and digital media, we start to see the hidden game at play. This video isn't just an analysis, it's a map, a mirror, and maybe even a wake-up call. So stay with me, because by the end, you might just change how you see the entire world. 1. The economy of attention. Why fast deep? Modern culture isn't driven by wisdom, it's driven by attention, and in the digital age, attention is currency. Every app you open, every ad you skip, every video you watch, is part of a multi-billion-dollar industry fighting for one thing, your focus. The problem is deep content takes time, and time is expensive. Thoughtful ideas, nuanced opinions, or emotional storytelling, they require patience, they unfold. But TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, they're built for instant dopamine hits. The shorter, the shinier, the louder, the better. It's not that people want shallow content, it's that the platforms reward it. Algorithms optimize for what keeps people engaged, not enlightened. As French philosopher Blaise Pascal once said, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. And in a world where silence is uncomfortable and stillness is rare, fast content thrives. But what gets lost in that speed is depth, insight, and ultimately, truth. 2. The age of performance, image over essence. We no longer live in a culture of being, we live in a culture of performing. From the curated Instagram feed to the perfectly timed selfie to the carefully branded persona, everyone's on stage. The performance never stops, and performance favors aesthetics over authenticity. If you can look the part, you don't have to live it. The influencer who preaches self-love might be battling crippling insecurity off camera. The alpha male guru may be deeply anxious behind the scenes, but in the world of digital clout, what you appear to be matters more than what you actually are. Ancient philosophers warned us about this. Socrates, for example, was feared by the elites of Athens precisely because he questioned the gap between appearance and reality. He'd walk into marketplaces, interrogating self-proclaimed experts and politicians, exposing that their wisdom was often hollow. His life was a rebellion against the shallow, and he paid for it with his death. But his legacy reminds us, what is right is not always what is popular, and what is popular is rarely what is right. 3. Shallow rewards, shallow values. If you reward someone every time they post a selfie, and ignore them when they share a vulnerable story, what message do you send? Over time, culture starts to value what it rewards. And right now we reward simplicity, virality, and visual appeal, not integrity, complexity, or inner growth. This leads to a culture obsessed with metrics, followers, likes, views. These numbers become stand-ins for self-worth. We chase validation in the form of digital applause, often sacrificing real connection, real depth, and real meaning. Even artists, thinkers, and creators begin to compromise, trading in their most honest work for whatever will do well. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them, and our judgment, what we find valuable or worthy, is being shaped not by wisdom, but by virality. We are being trained to feel good about being seen, not about being whole." 4. The comfort of surface living. Let's face it, depth is uncomfortable. It forces us to question, reflect, and confront our shadows. It's easier to stay at the surface, where things are light, fun, and easily digestible. No pain, no introspection, just keep scrolling. But that comfort comes at a cost. Over time, the inability to sit with discomfort makes us emotionally fragile, existentially anxious, and spiritually hungry. We feel empty even after being constantly stimulated. It's not that we're broken, we're starving for something real. In Buddhist philosophy, this is referred to as dukkha, the suffering that comes from craving and clinging to things that don't satisfy. The endless pursuit of fleeting pleasures leads us to a life of quiet dissatisfaction. And yet, the antidote has always been the same: awareness, presence, truth. All things that demand stillness, not speed. 5. Wisdom is slow, and culture is fast. Real wisdom doesn't come from swiping up, it comes from repetition, reflection, and time. But we live in a culture that wants everything now. Instant gratification, instant success, instant love. And wisdom? It's inconvenient. It tells you things you don't want to hear. It asks you to slow down, feel deeply, and maybe even suffer a little, because only through discomfort can you grow. Modern media makes wisdom feel irrelevant. Why read Marcus Aurelius when you can watch 50 dopamine-packed reels in the same amount of time? But ancient wisdom never tried to compete for your attention. It waited for you to be ready. It doesn't shout, it whispers. And those who are willing to listen often find something far more satisfying than shallow rewards: meaning. Philosopher Alan Watts once said, "The meaning of life is just to be alive." But in a culture that pushes us to be seen rather than to be, we forget how to simply exist. Wisdom offers us that return, if we're willing to slow down long enough to receive it. 6. Choosing depth in a shallow world. We've spent this whole video uncovering how modern culture rewards the shallow. But here's where it all comes together: you don't have to live that way. You're not powerless. You can choose depth, even in a system that doesn't encourage it. And that choice, though unpopular, might be the most revolutionary thing you do in your lifetime. Choosing depth means valuing what's real over what's performative. It means recognizing that your worth is not defined by your follower count, your aesthetics, or how much attention you can grab in 5 seconds. It's about tuning into a different frequency, one that prioritizes truth, integrity, introspection, and substance. It won't come with applause. In fact, sometimes it'll be met with silence. But it's in that silence that authenticity lives. Think about how Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychologist, wrote that what man truly desires is not pleasure or power, but meaning. And meaning isn't viral, it's personal. It comes from being rooted in something larger than yourself. It means walking away from shallow validation and walking toward the hard, quiet work of becoming someone worth being, whether the world notices or not. Choosing depth also means consuming consciously. What you watch, what you read, who you follow, these shape your mind more than you realize. Curate your feed like you'd curate a sacred space. If something consistently pulls you into envy, comparison, or mindless distraction, you don't owe it your attention. Instead, seek out voices that challenge you, expand you, and wake you up, not put you to sleep. And most importantly, create from that place of depth. Whether you write, speak, draw, build, or simply share your thoughts with someone, put your whole soul into it. Not because it will do well, but because it's real. The world has enough noise. What we need are people who are willing to go deep, even if it means swimming alone for a while. As Lao Tzu once wrote, knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. In a culture that wants you to be visible but not whole, choosing to master yourself, to know yourself, is a quiet rebellion. So yes, the world rewards the shallow. But you can be one of the few who dares to go deep. If you've made it this far, maybe you already feel it, the pull towards something deeper. Modern culture won't reward it, but your soul will. Thanks for watching. If this stirred something in you, subscribe. We're building a space for those who want more than the surface. Because in a world of echo chambers and fast dopamine, depth is rebellion.